What's up, everybody? I am David Liz, and welcome to Macho Cine Talks episode 3. This is a podcast about the movies that men love, why we love them, and their impact on society. This episode is called Creating Magic on a Shoestring, a conversation between indie filmmakers. And my wonderful guest today is an amazing filmmaker, indie filmmaker out of Miami, a great friend of mine. About almost a decade ago now, we met. I was directing a vampire pilot that never ended up going anywhere, but that's besides the point. And I needed an extra pair of hands. I called a friend, he recommended him. He comes over and man, we got along so well. We were very simpatico. We had a lot of the same dreams and aspirations in filmmaking. So we decided that we were gonna start writing together. We ended up writing a bunch of short films. We filmed a few short films. We sent them to festivals. And then we started writing feature films. Serendipity definitely slapped us in the face when we finally had the opportunity to work together on one of the feature scripts that we wrote. This guy that I have here with me, he's not only an amazing filmmaker, he's a dear friend. He is a literary master. He literally has a master's degree in literature. He is a writing genius. He is a movie connoisseur. He dedicates an entire wall in his house to his DVD collection. He is the man, the myth, the one, the only Manny Delgadillo.
Wow.
Not to be confused with Picadillo.
No. Please don't. No Picadillo.
Oh, man, Manny.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to have you here, man.
Thank you,
for being here.
Thank you. And I appreciate those words.
And the man behind the scenes, so everybody knows, Pico de Gallo. We remember him from episode 1 and 2.
This whole time I've been chewing nerds, so you're going to have to mute my microphone.
Yeah, he's just eating expired Halloween candy.
They're like 6 months old.
It's only 6 months old, you know. It expired 2 months ago. No big deal. Yeah, what can go wrong? Hey, Pico, there's a toilet literally downstairs. Just run to it if you need it, all right?
Diabetes.
I'm not sure if I've mentioned it on the podcast yet, but I am also a filmmaker. That's what I do. That's what Manny and I have been doing together for quite some time now. You can look me up on IMDb. I'm not just making this up. I have a movie on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi. It's our movie, The Welder. It's a horror film. We wrote it together. The shirt. This is the shirt. I'm repping the merch. This is the merch right here. We wanted so badly, Manny, to do a feature film that we said, even if we don't have the money, we are going to make this movie come to fruition. Do you remember when we were like throwing ideas back and forth for The Welder? Do you remember what that spark was that made you think, okay, I know what this, because I give you full credit for coming up with the concept for the movie. Tell us a little bit about that, because every time you tell a story, I just love hearing it.
So we were, I think, going back and forth trying to figure out, what's our first feature film going to be. We've done short films. We also do a lot of videography here in Miami. I think we were just filming a lot of weddings and filming a little bit of everything. And I think we were thirsting for the creative drive. So we were like, we had some ideas for a feature film. We did a short film called The Cardboard King. So I know we did a feature-length script, which is a great short film. We did a feature-length script, but that wasn't working out. We shopped a couple other ideas around, including a coming-of-age story.
Yeah, which is still, we'll make it someday.
It's a great script.
It's a great script. It's a fantastic script.
And then one day...
Tooting our own horn, by the way.
No, we toot away. We have to toot. We're grassroots indie filmmakers in Miami. We need to toot, Yeah. So, one day I was just hanging out in my front yard, and I got this idea, and I remembered, when I was a kid, my dad's a welder. He's still a welder. He's in his early 70s. I used to go to the shop in East Hialeah. I used to hang out with him on the weekends, and it was just the two of us, right? I was like 10, 11, 12, whatever. And he would sometimes wear the welder's mask and just creep out, from like a corner.
The welding people has won.
I would scare the crap out of me, So I was thinking about that at that moment, and then all of a sudden I thought about, Frankenstein, right? And then I thought about a movie that had just come out recently, Get Out, right? Which is a great fusion of like horror with a social message, right? And all of a sudden, all these things conflated, and I said, "Holy crap! I have an idea. I gotta call David." So I called you right away, and when I told you this idea, you were very energetic about it. I think you were screaming at the top of your lungs, like, "Oh my God, this is it! We gotta do this.
We got it."
we gotta do this. Like this is our gonna be our. So that was August 2018.
Wow, I remember. Yeah. I remember I was driving in the middle of Homestead to some like location to film something out there, and I had terrible reception, and you had to keep telling me the idea because I couldn't hear it.
That's
and then
right.
Finally, when I heard it, it was like a light bulb, like like the heavenly choir started to sing.
For sure. Yeah.
And it was a great idea, fantastic idea. I loved it.
Thank you. I don't think I'm like ever gonna forget that. You know, just your reaction to an idea that I had. You know, was very validating. And yeah, we spent one whole year on that script. You know, the first 10 drafts were dialogue heavy. Yeah. You know, where we're like, oh, we're not gonna get any money, so we got to do this ourselves. Yeah. So we had limitations, right?
And we had our parameters, right? We said, okay, we want to film it in mostly one location, have very few characters. I think we limit ourselves to 5 characters.
4 or 5, yeah.
And then we wanted to use locations that we already had access to. Your uncle had
a ranch
in Homestead.
In the Redlands.
We were going to film there with a bunch of... So we basically wrote, and we were going to use actors that we already knew.
Right.
So it was all in the effort to keep, because guys, we had no money at all, but we wanted to make this happen. We needed to make this happen. So we just wrote it, and we're going to make it, we're going to make it work.
Yeah.
I remember we would have our writing sessions at Latin Cafe.
That's right, in Hialeah. Yeah.
We'd have a Cuban croqueta, some Cuban breakfast, and we would just talk about ideas, write it down.
That was fun, and I kind of missed that, by the way.
That was some good times.
But yeah, those first few drafts, we just didn't think we were going to get any money.
And then, this is one of my favorite parts. Then I meet this guy. I pause to describe him because he is such an artist. He is so creative. He wanted a music video. He started like a music career. He had been singing and creating music for years, but he ended up deciding that he was going to just sort of pursue a traditional career path. And then after he retired, he's like, oh, I'm going to go back to my passions. You know, went into a studio, recorded a bunch of music, and he needed a music video done. So somehow, some way, he contacts me, and his name is Cindo, by the way. What a guy. Love this guy. I'm just so happy that we had an opportunity to work with him. But let me stop brown nosing for a second. He calls us to do a music video. Yeah. And I think it was like a 3-day shoot. Maybe it was a 2-day shoot. Now I don't remember
it was like
anymore.
3 days, yeah.
And he invites us to have dinner with him on the last day. So as we're having dinner with the entire crew, we have the models there, we have everybody there. He's like, what are you guys working on next? And I say, well, we're preparing a script about a welder. It's a horror movie. And do you remember what he said?
No, I don't remember his exact
He goes,
words.
a welder. My father was a welder.
That's right.
He's like, I'm very interested to invest in this movie.
Yeah, just
Send
like
me
that.
the script. And that was literally the beginning, and we couldn't believe it. We were so excited. And I think that was in March or April. And literally 3 or 4 months later, we were filming the movie.
So we started writing the script August 2018.
Yeah.
We went into our first day of production August 2019.
That's right. 1 year later, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we filmed it around March.
Yeah, we met Cindo in like March.
Cindo Santos was amazing, really just saved us, right? And we made the movie that we made because of him.
Absolutely. And because our movie was going to be like just so bare bones. And because Cindo was able to come in as the executive producer, he really elevated the production. He made it just so much better than it would have been.
For sure.
And I feel like it goes back to like that whole concept of if you build it, they will come. Oh, my mic is falling. It was like one of these moments, one of these serendipitous moments where like preparation met opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, we had the script ready to go, and now we had this opportunity, and we were able to execute on it. So that was just a phenomenal thing for me.
Yeah, that was like the catalyst, right? Like once we had his backing, we're like, oh, okay, now we can actually change the script a little bit, you know, because we have a budget now.
Right.
Then we brought in the amazing Vincent.
I'm here celebrating the Academy. Thank you for all that you do for us.
Oh yeah, Vincent DePaul,
you know,
of course,
one of our actors,
and we had met him on that vampire pilot all those years ago,
right.
And he just like believed in us so much.
Yeah.
Ever since we did that vampire pilot, like every year he'd call us multiple times a year to check up on us, see how we were doing, ask us if we were working on anything new, if we had anything upcoming, and finally we did. We had something
for sure,
and we were able to bring him on board, and he acted as a producer, but also he stars in the movie.
Yeah.
Vincent DePaul, he does a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
But before that, we had so many challenges.
We did.
So many walls that we ran into. It was like,
It was a lot.
do you remember like the big one?
Well, there were a few big ones.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
There were a few hurdles that we had to, and literally like 2 or 3 days before production, one of our actors was arrested.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it was in Georgia.
He was, because he lived up in Atlanta and he was driving.
Yeah.
He was going to be driving down, or I think he got arrested while he was driving.
Well, he was
down.
driving down, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a misunderstanding, unfortunately. But we thought
Uh-oh.
we're like going into production in, I think, 2 days.
It was like 2 days, and now we
And-
didn't have our actor.
Now, what the hell are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
So we were talking about like, oh, let's cast someone else. It's like, who the hell is gonna
Like,
take
how
on
are we
a
gonna?
film?
Yeah, how are we gonna cast
You know.
somebody else with one day?
I know. Yeah, it was crazy.
But then not only that, we had our gear stolen from our car.
Oh yeah, my goodness.
That was just
At that at one of the Latin cafes.
yeah. One of our little sessions at Latin Cafe. Actually, we had just stopped for a second to get a coffee.
Yeah, it was like a quick second.
We were there for
Yeah.
5 minutes, and then when
Yeah.
we got back in the car, we drove back to my house. I opened up the trunk, and everything was
Everything
missing.
was gone. Yeah.
Yeah, luckily those guys at Latin Cafe let us see the security footage.
You
and-
should play that over.
You know what? I'm gonna play it so you guys
You
can
should
see
play
it.
it.
We raced back to Latin Cafe, where they were nice enough to let us see their security footage, and that's where we discovered these images. We got robbed. We were 3 days away from starting production. We had already overcome so many obstacles just to get to this point, and now we had just lost some very expensive gear that we really needed in order to make our film come to life. And I know what you're thinking. Why didn't you lock your door, dummy? I did lock the door. These crooks were using a little wireless device that allows them to hack the code from your key fob.
The device is nearby. When you use your key to unlock your car, it acts as a middleman, jamming the signal and saving the code. You hit your key again and go on your way, but the hackers now have a code to get into your car anytime they want.
Yeah.
These guys are so sneaky. I'm glad I have the footage. I'm gonna
They
show.
had like a key fob or something. They intercepted your when you
Yeah.
lock the car. They intercept your
yeah.
signal.
So you
now
lock
they
the
have
car
it.
right with
Yeah,
your
yeah.
key fob, and they intercept the signal. So they didn't even break the window. They just opened the door and took
Yeah.
all the stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Terrible. So that was another thing. And
Yeah.
then I don't know if you remember, but the morning
van.
of production, our
van.
production van did not start up. It's like, bro, it's like one thing after another.
Yeah.
But then we finally made it to the first day on set, and I think that first day was a magical day.
It was.
Our
I
first
remember.
scene that we filmed, it was raining.
That's
and
right.
It was in the forest area. So we filmed in this beautiful location owned by Don Coppola, which, rest in peace, he literally just passed away a couple of months ago. We loved him to death. It's such a shame that he's not with us anymore, but we know he's in a better place. He let us film on his property. It's like, I think, a 4-acre property, which in the movie you would never think it was that small. You would think it's this huge location, right? Out in the middle of nowhere. But it's out in Homestead. He lets us film there. We needed to build some sets. So his two sons, Chris and Dean, they were so nice.
They're amazing.
They were
Amazing.
so cool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They built this set for us, and they just let us have free range. Like, they let us do whatever we wanted on their property. They were just the nicest, coolest
They
people.
built a set for us, right?
They literally went to Home Depot, bought the wood, painted it. Like, while we were filming other things, they were doing that.
There was great production value there because in the guest house, right, there was like
Yeah.
all these African artifacts and
It
stuff
was
like
already
that.
there.
so the stuff that we needed anyway, so we used a lot of what was already there.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an indie filmmaker, up and coming filmmaker, these things don't usually happen, right?
Yeah, that's why I say
if you're at the-
serendipity was...
at the grassroots level. Yeah, I mean, we found an investor like this. We were struggling. We're figuring out, okay, we're gonna do this ourselves. We might have to put some of our own money,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And that's it. Leave it at that, And then we had an investor. Now we have money. Okay, now we can rent this awesome location.
Yeah.
And this location comes with a lot of great scenery.
Yes.
There's like this old Art Deco styled pool or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's the oldest
Yeah.
pool in all of Homestead.
And his old house was like 120 years old or something.
Yeah,
like
made
that.
with like Dade County pine.
Dade
this
County
ty-
pine,
a
that's
type
right.
of wood
Yeah,
that
yeah.
like it's so hard that the termites can't get into it.
Yeah.
So it lasts forever.
That house is
basically.
gonna be there for a while.
Yeah. And it was over 100 years old. The
Yeah,
house.
it went through a bunch of hurricanes,
Yeah, it
so-
survived the biggest hurricanes
Yeah.
that we've had in recent history, like in the last 100 years.
And just the production value there was amazing. And so you know, we were lucky and fortunate to have that, right? Because we had a budget and we had resources. We had a crew. We had people like Dean, you know,
Right.
Don, right, who could help us out on set. So we were lucky. Caroline, yeah.
Don's wife.
Yeah, we were lucky to have that set and those folks helping us out. So.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't always happen that way, right? Sometimes you have no money.
Yeah,
So you got to work with what
and
you
we'll
have.
get into that.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
I'm getting
part.
ahead of myself. Sorry.
This project was meant to be made with no money, and again, serendipity. We got a blessing, and we were able to make it happen with a little bit of a budget. But there are other projects that we've worked on,
Right.
that
Right.
were definitely bare bones.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the welder for a few. We shot that in the span of 9 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was 9 grueling days, long hours, 16-hour days.
Longer.
Yeah, some days were a couple hours longer. In the middle of the summer.
Yeah, it was late August.
It was just unbearable, but somehow, because it was also such a small crew. It's not like, okay, well, we're bare bones, but we have a huge crew.
A lot of moving parts
at a high
right?
level.
Yeah.
So many moving parts.
Yeah. But it was honestly the most stressful production that I've been on.
Yeah.
Right?
So stressful.
Because we're dealing with a lot of moving parts. There's so much. There's so many stories.
We had people going crazy on set. We had fights on set.
We did have that.
We had moments where people were just like so happy to be there.
Yeah.
It was like this beautiful experience.
People were bonding too, you know.
We were bonding. We I don't know. It was just such a beautiful time. I remember it with so much love in my heart, and I can't wait to do the next one, really, because it's just a beautiful bonding experience. You're stuck with these people for X amount of days, and you're all just trying your best to be as artistic and true to the story as possible. And even though you're tired, even though you're hot, even though you're uncomfortable, even though you're sleep deprived, you're still focused on your mission.
Yeah, and I think, having that end goal in sight is important. One thing that I'm proud of, right, that came out of this production was like learning how to put my ego aside as a writer, right? Because we had the script and it was ready to go. We had a script doctor, I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, of course.
Who reviewed it and gave us a lot of suggestions. And you went in and made all these awesome edits at the very end. And then we made another round of edits. But there was a point on set where I was ripping entire pages.
Yeah, we had to.
Because I'm like...
And we had to combine scenes.
We had to combine scenes. We had, actors who were struggling to... this is a production that was, not last minute, but, remember we got our funding like around April and we started filming in August.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, it is having preparation. I think we did a good job.
Yeah.
Just the two of us preparing everything.
It was literally just us two making sure that everything came to Javi was helping us too.
Javi
it was
Palacios,
us three. We got to give credit to Javi for sure,
and Vincent too.
And Vincent as well. I mean, it was just,
but it all came together, but on set, I was just Xing entire pages or just changing dialogue or having the actors improvise a little bit, because it was a lot of dialogue. There were still some carryovers from the original script. Yeah. And then we realized wait, we can show this visually. We don't need all this dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it gave the actors more free range to improvise and stuff like that. And I still can't believe that we made this movie.
Yeah.
That we got funding for it and that we did it. You know? And it's
on out.
It's on Tubi. It's on Amazon Prime, on Vudu.
You can go watch it right now, guys. Yeah. Go check it out.
Actually, you should watch it and then tune into the podcast.
Yeah, or watch it and leave a comment. Whether you loved it or hate us, let us know. Yeah. And we also have Pico, who's behind the scenes. He actually acts in the movie.
Arguably the best character in that movie.
He's probably the best character.
I mean, you should have had me in there for longer, but whatever.
The thing is that his original scene was about 30 minutes of screen time. We had to do a little bit of snipping, a little bit of tucking,
a little bit of welding.
Ended up being maybe 8-9 minutes of screen time.
I'm just happy that I had words to say.
Yeah. He had words for sure. And he brings a little bit of his comedic flair. So
yeah.
I was really happy to be able to include Pico in that. So many lessons were learned on The Welder that I believe you must have taken those into your next projects, right? Yep. Could you tell me about your movie? What challenges you confronted in that film?
Yeah.
And what you learned from The Welder that maybe you applied?
Yeah, I think that going back to as a writer, right? Because I wrote this script for a feature-length film called Everything Has Led to This Moment, and it's a coming-of-age film set in 1990s Miami, so it's a period piece. I self-financed this movie.
A period piece with like literally micro budget.
A micro budget, yeah.
And he pulled it off.
I had $10,000. I was able to save up money. We started filming during early COVID. We filmed for about 2.5 years.
Yeah, over weekends.
Yeah, over weekends. Waiting 3 or 4 months.
But guys, get this: he shot with kids.
Yeah,
they were getting older
teenagers.
all along the way, and
Yeah.
you were adapting
Correct.
the story.
Yeah.
As they grew older, weren't you?
Yeah, because the movie takes place around like a couple years, right? A span of a couple of years. So, in the 2 years in the life of a teenager, they're gonna be changes in their physicality and stuff like that. They go through puberty, etc. So I wanted to show some of that. Not like Boyhood, right? It's 12 years.
Yeah.
I only had just wanted a couple of years, right? So to showcase those changes, and so yeah, I mean, we shot it over 2.5 years. I think we almost at the third year, like at the end, like at the start of the third year, I was still editing and stuff like that. I think we shot a couple pickups or something like that.
Crazy.
So yeah. But yeah, in terms of like stuff that I carried over from the welder, it's like learning to put my ego aside with the script. And I started to realize kind of like midway through that, yes, the actors, they all know their lines. They never like look at a script for reference. They know all their lines. But I started to realize that they were at their best when they would just kind of throw away the lines and just make it their own, right? There's a scene right in the middle of the movie that kind of shifts the tone a little bit, where there's a fight between a mother and a daughter.
Right.
And it starts off with them saying the lines in the script, and then they completely just like threw it out the window.
Yeah.
And they made that scene their own. And if they hadn't done that, then the scene probably wouldn't have turned out so great. So I learned, which we started in the welder, I learned to trust the actors, trust their instincts.
Yeah.
And
that scene has like the most famous line in the entire movie. Das pena.
Yeah. So I learned like the value of trusting my actors. They know the characters just as well as I do, maybe even better.
Yeah.
So why not trust them to really just take what's on the page and just kind of soar with it, So
how do you transition from working on a film that was shot under so much stress, under so much pressure in 9 days, to then, or maybe that's the catalyst to why perhaps you decided that you were going to take your time with this next project of yours, and you shot it over, the course of a bunch of weekends, in a 2-year period.
Yeah, what an interesting juxtaposition, right?
Yeah, I know.
And a contrast. I don't know. I love taking my time with projects. I don't have like a producer breathing down my neck, or I'm not beholden to a production company or anything like that. So I have time, and I love those artists, those filmmakers who just take their time. Like I love David Lynch, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't care, or Terrence Malick, right? It took years to make a movie.
One of my favorites.
There you go. And I love that aspect. But I would argue that I suffered a lot of that same stress that I had on the welder on this project, because I'm overseeing a lot of things. It's literally just me, and obviously Danny Lago, who's my cinematographer. There were days where it was just the two of us, because it's COVID. The parents don't want many people on set, obviously, and I want to respect that. So it was just the two of us doing everything. So planning everything, filming, and then editing. And then, having to put up with the different egos, right? Different people, sometimes some of the parents were...
How was it? Yeah, was it like working with kids and their parents?
The kids are great. Yeah, super professional. Shout out to Charlotte Delgado. And I know nobody's seen this movie because it's still trying to get into a film festival. But I worked with Charlotte Delgado, who's... and her mom, Chris, was... they were just invaluable on set, honestly. And yeah, it was great. I thought it was going to be difficult, but they're so professional, David. They knew all their lines.
Wow.
They would barely mess up. They would improvise. Phenomenal. We loved them so much that we worked with them again in this other film we did.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
the way it works.
Premiered at the film festival, Miami Film Festival.
This movie is, in a lot of ways, extremely personal to you.
Yeah.
Based on your childhood growing up in a certain part of Miami, because I feel like in your film, the location is almost like a character.
For sure.
Can you tell us about a little bit where you like filmed it, and a little bit
for
the
sure,
history, why you chose that area?
And I wish it was available for people to see, but little by little, first getting it into festivals. But yeah, we filmed a portion of it in the Shenandoah neighborhood, near Little Havana. I went to Shenandoah Middle School when I was a little jit. To use that term from the 90s. I was near Calle Ocho, Little Havana. And so I wanted to represent that, on film, because I'm not sure it's a neighborhood that's been represented before in that way. And yeah, I grew up with my movies about two sisters and their extended family, their friends, their cousins, the dad, the mom.
Just for reference, for people that know, Little Havana and Shenandoah is a predominantly Cuban area. So you're going to have the best some of the best Cuban restaurants there, just a lot of Cuban influence. Best place to buy a Cuban cigar, best place to buy a Cuban guayabera, best Cuban food.
Azúcar!
Azúcar! You hear Cuban music playing.
How far away were you
corner.
from the little domino table?
Yeah.
So I was like 3 or 4 blocks away from there. I was on 12th Street. Well, 4 blocks from 8th Street.
You could smell the tobacco smoke.
Oh, yeah, I could smell it. Yeah, I could hear the clacking of the tile, the domino tile. That was every other night,
Yeah.
But yeah, I could hear like the domino players. No, it was cool growing up there, right? And that a lot of old houses in that neighborhood. A lot of, there's an eclectic architecture there, and I don't know, it was great. But so I wanted to represent that because I grew up there, and the area has a lot of history and stuff like that. So there's the two sisters, right? And their mom, the dad, friends, and so I kind of wanted to pay homage to my family, and there's maybe 1 or 2 characters who are based on me a little bit.
And I don't want you to ruin anything, so don't feel like you have to.
But that's not important. The important part is like there's a story here to be told, and it's just a coming of age, a slice of life. I wouldn't have been able to do it without, obviously your support, Danny, Lago's support, and the support of the parents and the kids who were just happy to be there because it's during COVID.
And I'm just impressed, because I've seen the movie. I'm impressed at your attention to detail, even the bed sheets. Like there's this one scene where the girls are having a sleepover, and even the bed sheets. What was it?
It's like dinosaurs. There was one of dinosaurs, one of like Power Rangers.
Yeah, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
One of the girls is watching like a fitness. Was it a fitness thing on TV or something?
Yeah.
And like all the props, the TV. I don't know where you found all those old
CRT monitors,
old TV, and all the little props. I mean, it's just. Even like there's a scene where like there's a car that's like they think it's a kidnapper or something. And it's an old school car.
It's a 1980 Dodge Riviera.
Yeah. I mean, it's all of these little details.
Yeah.
And you're filming on the streets.
That was stressful.
Of Miami in the year 2022 or 23.
2020, March 2020, when COVID had just started. So I was like,
so all the cars on the street are modern.
Yeah.
Like, how do you avoid, shooting all of that? I don't know.
Luckily, there were a couple of cars that were very old. Yeah. So we just kind of used them. We used depth of field, shallow depth of field and stuff like that. But we did have that 1980 Dodge, which is prominent. But you're cheating it, right? You're trying to find a corner where there's no car visible and then plant the car that you do want to use there. Or like I think there was a part where we pan the camera. The two sisters are walking past camera. And we pan and there's like this old van. That's like a 1980s van, right? Yeah. So we're like, oh, we could use that van, So it's trying to find those little nuggets like that. And if not, just try to shoot like on a corner where there are no cars visible.
And didn't you like do something where like you filmed in front of a house and then like a couple months later that house was torn down? And
actually, I found out recently, I have to send you the video, it burned down.
Oh, really?
It burned down, yeah. But that house had been empty for a long time. Yeah. It was kind of decaying a little bit.
But didn't you go back and film in front of it again?
Yeah, we filmed in front of it, but now it was gone.
Yeah.
And so I tried to recreate the shot. This was like 2.5 years later.
Yeah.
We recreated that shot with Charlotte coming in and sitting down on the same curb, the little curb cut or whatever.
Yeah.
And just sitting there, and then we kind of do a quick little cut to what it used to be, and then her in the present, the present of that moment.
And it shows like how, as time goes on, you lose things change.
Things die, things change, right?
Yeah.
There was a house there, now there isn't, right? So that was like a metaphor for what, was going on in the film at that point. No spoilers. But yeah, it was so much fun shooting it, but also very stressful,
You can always tell people that you had so much money that you burned
I tore down the house. I burned down the house.
That's the story. That's how we sell it.
I don't like the way
That's an old house.
I don't like the way this house looks.
Yeah,
Plus, for my story, I needed gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Terry, it's a little piece of history, a little piece of Miami history. It's unfortunate that there's a lot of contention about that area and what's going to happen to it,
Well, yeah, because the thing is that a lot of those houses are super old, but they're gorgeous. Their architecture is from like the early 20th century.
Yeah, there's like 1910s, and then you have like 1920 when there was a land boom right before the big hurricane of 1926. Miami had just like now, right? A big land boom.
Yeah.
So you had like westward expansion, people expanding into like Shenandoah, Riverside, all that stuff. So those houses are like Spanish, Mediterranean style, Italian Renaissance. You have like a lot of different houses there, like different eclectic architecture. It's kind of precedes Coral Gables a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, and I hope they don't tear it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna tear it down and put high rises.
They're gonna put
bunch of
high rises
high-rises
for rich
and
people.
They're gonna do
parking
like
garages.
like
like
Wynwood. They won't be high rises. It'll be mid rises.
Mid-rises.
Yeah.
Luxury
Sugar cubes
mid-rises.
and
With like
parking
expensive
garages.
restaurants
Yep.
and
Yeah.
the history will be gone.
So yeah, I'm.
The future.
So I
That's
wanted
the future.
to
Can't stop
kind
the
of
future.
depict this area, you know, in the film
Before it's
and
gone.
Hopefully not, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The good
reserved
thing
it.
is that it's never going to be done. So we're going to see the evolution of Little Havana in his movie because we're going to keep shooting, right?
Yeah, no, I do want. I have an idea for a project that takes place specifically the house that I lived in when I was there in from the mid '90s until the late '90s. I was there, so I have an idea to try to archive that area
Right.
via film. So
What's like an anecdote, like something funny or that you think the audience might think is kind of cool or funny?
yeah, I'll just like talk about the first few days, you know, because they were very stressful. It was my first time directing a feature, you know, and there were a lot of people. I mean, you were there.
I was there on that day.
And there were a lot
the
of
first
people, you know, for like under my wing, right? And also it's like the beginning of COVID. We're shooting out on the street. We don't have a permit. It's guerrilla style, you know. So my cinematographer, Danny, he put up these cones, you know, just to block certain like intersections and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, if a cop car passes by, like I'm freaking out right now, you know. So I remember there's a cadence, right? When you're going to film a scene, you know, you roll camera, you say roll sound, you wait for the sound guy to say sound speed, camera speed, actors are set, the camera's framed, everything's ready to go. I was so nervous. Before these things were happening, I was like, action, you know.
Yeah.
And Danny would turn to me, and rightfully so, and scold me, you know, like, hey, you know, like, there's a cadence, Manny. There's
gotta wait.
There's a cadence. I hope he sees this, and I learned a lot, you know. And then those cones, man, and then like a cop car drove. I don't know if you were there that day, but because we shot there for 2-3 days, but a cop car just passed by, stopped because there was a cone there, waited. We finished the scene, and then we removed the cone so the cop could. And they never stopped to ask us, like,
How cool.
yeah, like, oh, do you have
That was
a
a nice
permit to
cop.
film here? Yeah.
He needed to go home.
Yeah.
His wife had made dinner. He's like, I'm not dealing with this.
Maybe he's on his way to have a cafecito.
Yeah, he
you know?
probably checked
Probably.
you guys out. Say, yeah, you guys look all right.
Yeah.
Left.
So I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know. There's a lot of stories from set.
You just got that officer fired.
I know. I'm sorry. We filmed at the Gold Coast Railroad Museum, where we also filmed one scene of the welder.
The welder, we shot a scene there as well. Yeah.
But I was there to work. Like when we would get there, we would just right away would start working until it was done.
The next movie that you worked on, which actually just premiered at the Miami International Film Festival, and you helped to produce this movie. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I produced. I'm the producer.
You are the producer,
along
and-
with Andrew Gracia.
Okay, and not only that, but you play one of the main characters.
I do.
So how do you then transit? Because I feel like you're just like this Renaissance man, where you write.
No, I'm not.
You direct. Now you're acting.
Pico's like, no, he's not.
Right.
He's not.
I'm only mad at you because there's 2 movies that you didn't cast me in. That's all
I'm
it is,
sorry.
you know, like,
That's true. That's true.
We didn't want you stealing the movie. Okay.
I'm not denying that you could do these things. I'm just mad that I'm not in them.
Yeah,
Fair.
I could be
I don't
the
blame
Uber
you.
driver in all your movies.
that's true.
you know?
Yeah.
Typecast me.
Next time, I'm just gonna make it the Uber. You're gonna play the exact same. You're like Denzel Washington.
We should just do a movie that it's about the Uber driver.
Just
I really
the Uber
think,
driver
yeah.
story.
Because, no spoilers, but something happens to him at the end of that one.
Something does
so-
happen, but this could be a prequel to that.
Yeah, we could do a backstory.
Like a
Are
little
you a leading
prequel.
man, Pico? Can you carry a movie for an hour and 30 minutes? I don't know. I think maybe you could. I think you
I
could.
don't know. I could be a good sidekick.
Well, I'll
Have confidence in yourself, Pico.
I could be the leading man.
Oh, come on, Pico.
I'd be like,
Who talks like that?
I'm
Come
gonna-
on, Pico. Come
I
on.
want to be like
Al Pacino.
No, this is boy Rick.
some guy that we work with.
Sorry, Al Pacino.
I could be like Melissa McCarthy in Spy, you know?
She's so good in that. Well, I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we might have a project coming up in about a month or two.
Listen, I don't want to hear your bullshit, okay? I already. It's only because I said.
Well, I'm saying it right now that I want you to be in the next one. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't want to be the Uber driver though.
No, you won't be. You won't be.
That's it. You already
wanna be typecast.
manifested that. So tell me about like acting. How was,
Yeah,
first of
yeah.
all, what character do you play?
Okay, yes.
And how did you like bring yourself to play this character?
So I am excited to talk about this film. I'm still, again, just a quick side note, I'm still trying to seek a film festival to accept everything as led to this moment. So hopefully, you know, the viewers could watch it at some point, or a distribution deal, who knows. But I'm excited to talk about A Communist Brainwashed My Daughter. It is a satirical comedy. It's written, directed, edited, shot, scored, sound designed, and color corrected by Danny Lago, who
Crazy.
also
That's a
is
lot.
the main character in the film.
Who also acts, so
He's acting as well.
is literally doing almost everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing he isn't doing is creating the oxygen for the actors
Correct.
to breathe.
Yes.
Or the grass for them to step on. I mean,
Yes.
like, he is literally doing everything. That's amazing.
I commend him for doing that, you know. And well, anyway, I play Heriberto.
Heriberto. Very Cuban name.
I should have put my hair back in. So yeah, I'm in the film. You know, my hair's tied back. I have bling, like very cheap, you know, gold jewelry. You know, I play this Cuban macho from Hialeah. He's very
Nice.
Cuban, kind of like scummy,
Okay.
sexist, you know, pig. Just an asshole.
Which is like so opposite from
it's
who you are.
I
You're
literally
like this clean
had to
cut,
transform. Yeah,
Like nice, the nicest guy you could think. I mean, for you to play that character,
Yeah.
what a leap.
it's he's like the scum of the earth,
Right.
You know, not the salt of the earth, the scum of the earth. And so it was like a transformation for me. So yeah, that's the character I play, Heriberto. It's about a middle school teacher who's trying to show his students about the environment and the importance of recycling, and his students just don't care, right?
Right.
They're invested in other issues. So she's out picking trash or whatever, and then the dad arrives and sees her putting like trash like scouring, you know, like in the trash can, and he gets pissed off, and that's where the confrontation takes place. You know, that's the movie. You know, in a nutshell. I mean, it's a lot more to it, but so yeah, I played this very hyper masculine, you know, Cuban guy, and it was tough, David. I mean, I had to transform into this character, and I very quickly realized that the only way I could do that was to go method. So I didn't know. I mean, this is my acting debut. I've never acted before.
Yeah.
You know, in a film. So I'm like, oh, I got to do something, and I got to do it quick. I got to figure this. I only had like 2-3 weeks to prepare.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, I have to figure this out quick. So I would have everyone call me Heriberto on set.
Okay.
You could only speak to me in Spanish, and if you spoke to me in English, I would get pissed off. There's a line in the movie. There's a line. It's very quotable, I think. And he goes, "No me tires el inglés." When someone talks,
Don't speak to me in English.
yeah, don't throw me that English, you
Yeah.
know, then somebody speaks to me in English. And so when someone would do that, I would tell them, "Oye, no me tires el inglés," you know, and I would get pissed off if people spoke to me
En
in
esta casa se habla español.
Español.
That's the way I would hear it in my house.
Yeah,
When I was
yeah, I know, same,
growing
you
up.
know. And so, David, I had to go through this like very arduous transformation so that I could, you know, I didn't want to let Danny down, right? I don't want to and the other actors are doing so well, right? So, you know, I thought I was just gonna screw it up, but no, people really liked the performance.
So how was that?
Yeah.
Like, how was it going to a theater filled with people and then
Wow.
seeing yourself on this huge screen, having everybody just watch you perform? Like, was that like?
It was
Were you
surreal.
past that point, or just tell me?
So
about
I was, because you know we had the welder at Popcorn Frights,
But you're
and-
not like in the well.
But I'm not in the movie, so
Yeah.
I can still watch it. And
I mean, I was nervous.
yeah, I know,
But I wasn't in
was
the
nervous
movie,
too,
yeah.
you know, and I was very nervous when the welder, right? But with this one, even more so because I'm on the big screen and I play, you know, it's a sizable role. I'm in the entire movie.
Yeah.
So we premiered the movie at the Silver Spot Cinema, April 7th, and you know I was there. My parents were
A
there.
day before the eclipse and a day before my birthday.
That's right.
Just
That's right.
FYI for next year. You guys
Exactly.
can wish me happy birthday in the comments.
You better.
Anyways.
You better. Or the welder will come and get you.
Or the welder will come and get you.
So yeah, David, I was there, and you know everyone's there. My parents, you know, were able to go, and friends, family, people I don't know, people from the festival and stuff, and it was surreal to see myself on the big screen. But I was nervous and stuff. I was a nervous wreck. But as the movie progressed, something happened, David.
What was it? Tell me, what's that?
People were laughing at me. Not like at me, but like at everything my character would say and do. People were laughing. They were engaging. I would hear comments like, "Oh, it's so funny," you know, or whatever, like little things like that. And I started to relax. And then by the end of the movie, I was just like, I was calm. I was
Yeah.
cool as a cucumber, David. I was
That's
like,
fantastic.
I was like, okay, this is, you know, I'm sure people are going to dislike the movie or might not, but generally I felt comfortable or more confident, I should say, by the end of the movie. And a lot of people came up to me. I had a swarm of people come up to me. And you know me, I'm an introvert. I don't like to be in the limelight much. Yeah, they're like, "Oye, que bien tu cita?" And then I would speak to them in English. They're like,
No me tira el inglés. That's what
"No me tira el inglés." I was thinking about going in character, but yeah, people were really into the performance. They loved it. I heard, from a lot of people that, "Oh, you were my favorite part of the movie, man.
Nice.
I really liked your
Isn't
character."
that nice to hear? Huh?
Yeah, it
Tell
was
me about the welder.
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, you were the best part. Come on.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it felt very validating, and I'm not seeking those things, right? I just want to make movies, right? But it's nice to hear it, and it's validating. Yeah. And now I've also acted. Now I'm in front of the camera, which I don't like, but I see myself acting.
Yeah.
Some more. Why not?
Yeah, that's gonna be my next question.
So David, in your next film, you can cast me, okay?
All right.
'Cause I can act, I guess.
Now, okay, so you were Eddie Vito in the last one. So
Yeah.
let's see. We're gonna find a nice Cuban name to name you for the next one. Or are you trying to expand your horizons?
I would love to expand. Yeah.
Okay,
But I mean,
okay.
if that's what there is, that's what there is. I'm cool with it.
She just has to grow his beard out, and the three of us can be some sort of like beard gang.
We
You
can
know,
be
I had a
motorcycle
beard
gang.
and I shaved it off a little bit today. I still have a
Beard gang.
yeah.
Beard gag. For young people that want to be filmmakers that are watching this podcast and are curious as to what it's like to be a filmmaker with a film at a festival, do you get special treatment? Do you are you getting interviewed by the media? Do you have the authority or capacity to speak to other filmmakers, other actors, the directors of the film festival? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
I mean, it also depends on the festival that you're going to. I can tell you. I mean, our movie has The Welder was in some pretty big festivals, right? Like Rain Dance.
It was in Rain Dance.
Big festival.
It's won a lot of awards.
Popcorn Frights. It has won. It won Best Feature at Spooky Empires.
Empire.
I think in 2022, right? 2022.
That was 2022 already?
Yeah, because then last year I
by so
went as a
fast.
panelist.
Yes.
I was there last year as
yeah,
well.
and then they invited us back
Yeah.
to be. I couldn't go for some reason,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that you went.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So yeah, it's a good question. I can tell you a little bit about my experiences at the Miami Film Festival, which just ended a couple days ago, and what a filmmaker who, let's say, got their film accepted in a big film festival like that one can expect, right? Because there's smaller festivals, right? Like niche festivals and stuff like that. But the Miami Film Festival was enormous. There were, I think, over 150 films.
Wow.
Yeah, including short films, documentaries, and so forth. There were a lot of films that were made in Miami. Just, for example, our film, A Communist Brainwashed My Daughter. There was a great film called Mountains, which won an award, the Made in MIA award. What to expect? Well, expect to watch a lot of great films, and some by local filmmakers, right? I expect, at least in the Miami Film Festival, we had happy hours. We had networking events. We had a bunch of parties that we went to. So a lot of meet and greets and stuff like that. So you're going to meet a lot of like-minded people, a lot of filmmakers, right? Most of whom are like local, right?
Right.
And they're trying to make it big just like you are, right? We assumed that maybe there would be people from, like, I don't know, HBO or Latino or something, or Netflix. Maybe there were. I don't know. But we met a lot of filmmakers or a lot of film buffs.
Right.
So you're going to network and see who's who,
Right.
and connect with people. And I also got to reconnect with some people that I haven't seen in years. And so that's what to expect. But this was a big festival. I mean, there were parties almost every single day. There were happy hours almost every day. There were big events, a lot of screenings. They had a lot of people. Tom Hiddleston was there to receive an award.
Cool.
Alison Brie.
Really?
Yeah. I saw a movie written and directed and starring Heather Graham called
wow.
Chosen Family. And she was there, we got to meet her and stuff like that. So we had the red carpet treatment on the first day at the Adrian Arch Center. So we did a little red carpet. We took like 1 million photographs.
Nice.
And we were interviewed by the local press as well. So expect those things, right? Expect, hopefully a red carpet treatment. Expect to be interviewed. Expect a lot of pictures to be taken of you,
And I think the whole point of that is because you want to get the media to promote your movie.
Yeah.
And then also the obvious, which is networking with other like-minded individuals.
For sure. Going to watch the films. Watch the local films. Yeah. Watch, the world premieres of bigger. There were, like, the closing night film was with Robert De Niro called Ezra.
Oh, cool.
And Bobby Carnival. It was good. It was good. Yeah. It was really good. Bobby Carnival as well was in it. So yeah, I mean, you can go, you can meet like actual. I mean, Molly Ringwald was there as well, and I got to meet her. So you get to meet big Hollywood royalty and stuff like that, but you also get to meet local filmmakers, and just exchange Instagrams, get their phone numbers. If you set up a collaboration, well, do it. Follow up on that.
Yeah.
If you have a business card, hand them out. Get those Instagram follows and just be consistent about that.
Yeah.
But we went to David. I'm like still a little exhausted from the festival. My
imagine.
social battery was drained.
Were you out there every night?
I think I took one day off, which was Wednesday.
So how many days? Like
It was
10
like
days?
8 or 9. No, 9 days in total.
Wow.
It was like 8 or 9. No, yeah, 9 days. 9 days in total, because it started on a Friday and ended like the following Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was 9 days, and yeah, we saw a lot of great films, a lot of great short films.
That's awesome.
That was great, across different venues, like the Bill Cosford, Coral Gables Cinema.
Did you see anything at the Olympia?
No, I have before.
What a beautiful theater.
Yeah.
The best, most beautiful theater in all of Miami.
And it's old, right? It's a very old theater.
Yeah.
But we went to the Adrian R Center. That's where we had a lot of the events. And
I haven't been there yet. That's where, that's the Opera House, no?
yeah, they have the Opera House there.
I was there one time. I didn't go for a show or anything. I went to film something for
Oh, cool.
some dumb thing like 10 years ago. Remember Paola? I shot with her one thing there.
Why
One
you
time.
gotta throw her under the bus like that?
Nothing. It was for the TV. No, what was the name of that network? I don't even remember.
Not participating in this conversation.
Oh, shut up, Pico. All right. Anyways,
So anyway,
if you don't want to talk, you can just shut up.
I'm not gonna say anything
Just
bad
keep eating your
about
candy,
Mega TV
all right? Just eat your
or their
candy.
programming.
You see, that's what I was looking for. Mega TV.
just eat the candy. Bless you.
David, por favor.
That's
So-
why this is called Macho Cine Talks.
Because sometimes we fart and burp.
So we've had a burp. Now we just need a fart, Manny.
I'm good.
Oye, yo acabo de comer tremendo Taco Bell. You want me to fart?
Ooh, Taco Bell. That'll do
Bro,
it.
I like you to fart. I just don't want you to poop your pants. All right, so
Don't start now.
let's just
Hey, yo, poop jokes.
poop jokes. Zingers. Anyways,
So yeah, it was a great opportunity. Sorry, hold on.
Here we go. Cut.
no cutting. This is all part of the fun.
Three,
I'm
two.
keeping all of this.
All that? No, I thought we cut all that stuff.
No
out.
way.
So let me see if I can. Okay, yeah. So it's a great. Damn it, Bio.
So we were talking about Kevin Smith, right?
Kevin Smith.
Dogma
Kevin
is his
James.
best film.
Kevin
Yeah,
James.
I just said that.
Dogma.
Were you here when I said that?
Dogma is a great movie.
That was a good movie.
I loved
His last
Alanis
best film.
Morissette as God.
Is she the girl that dated Uncle Joey from Full House? And like
right.
apparently, like he like really did her dirt, and she wrote that song.
All right.
And then he was like, "Huh? I didn't even realize that she liked me that much."
All I did was cheat on her. Anyways, go ahead.
Cut it out.
So yeah, the festival experience is worth it. You get to network, which is very important. You get to build relationships, right? Friendships and stuff like that. Build connections with other local filmmakers, producers, right? And also you get to see the local film nonprofits like Miami Film Lab. They've been amazing. Miami Film Lab is amazing. They test screened Danny's movie a few months ago. They do test screenings. They do networking. Tomorrow they have a filmmaker meetup. Tomorrow. So yeah, they do a lot of great work. There's like Arts Accelerator and a few others. So they're there as well. So it's good to just foster these relationships with those people.
Was Filmgate out there
I don't
with
know.
Diliana?
I didn't see them. No, I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were. Yeah.
They're very.
There's just there's so much going on, David. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you have to kind of pick and choose and see what.
Sure.
And I'm sure there were people from Ulite Arts there and stuff like that. And some of the films were funded with Ulite Arts, right?
Yeah.
Money. So it's important to just put yourself out there, make
Right.
yourself known, make yourself a constant presence there in these filmmaking events, because it's very important, and have something to show them.
Yeah, of
have something to
course.
show, a short film, a documentary, whatever you put together. But that was great, and you get to watch a lot of great films. I mean, you get to go to these happy hours and parties, and it's a lot of fun.
The parties are always so much fun. After a screening, I think I've been to the Miami Film Festival. Maybe four different years.
Mm-hmm.
My first year, I was an intern at Miami Film Festival right out of college, so I worked with them for like the 3 months before they actually had the event. And so I saw like all the inner workings, all the behind the scenes, all the drama. I worked directly with Jay LaPlante, which I'm not sure if he's still he's not the director anymore. Okay, well, he's gone. Later on, I got a short film that I worked on that I did. Well, I don't even know if with El Mago. I don't even remember. I've worked on
El Mago.
so many movies.
Yeah.
I know I DP'd it and I edited it. Did I direct that movie? I don't even remember anymore.
I think it was Anna. Anna
directed it. Yeah.
Rodriguez.
I don't even, that's why I was like, wait, did I direct it? I don't think so.
And this is like years before I met you, but I'm like your biographer, I guess.
No, the thing is, I remember when I was in film school, I'd worked. I had a teacher who, he was like an old guy. He'd worked on so many projects that he says that sometimes he's just like watching a movie on TV and the credits will roll and you see his name. He's like, oh, that's why that movie looked familiar. Forget like what movie he worked on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening to me. And I'm not even that old yet. Like I just worked on so many things at this point that it's...
That's great though. That's
you start forgetting
the
details. But the reality is that the film festivals are a lot of fun. Yeah. When I went for that short film, Mago, it was a similar situation, and it was just like they treated you so good. And as a matter of fact, the year that we did The Welder, I went to the film festival again, and that is where I saw a movie called Hurricane, that Camila Rodriguez, who stars in The Welder, in our film The Welder, she was acting, has a small role in that movie, but she just plays that role so well, and I was like, oh my gosh. If she's local, I want to audition her. She's the girl. She's the one that we want. And, you know, as luck so have it, it turns out that she was. And she was available. And she was interested. And she was excited for the project. And, and we brought her on.
She's amazing.
There are such amazing opportunities at the film festival. So even if you don't have a film,
right?
there, just
building those connections. I mean, thanks to Camila, I found Mabel Leiva, who plays a mom, plays a mom in my first film. And then now she just wants to be part of every single one of our projects. So building those connections and just sustaining them is very, very important.
It really is.
Yeah. So that's what you would expect out of a typical film festival. But, you know, the dream is, somebody from, I don't know, Netflix or Hulu or whatever. Someone big sees our film and they want to distribute it, or they want, or they want to fund your next project,
But you don't know unless you knock on the door, unless you make yourself present, your presence known, and it's one of those things you have to go out there, knock on the door, see which one opens, though.
Exactly, yeah. And you have to be consistent about it. You have to be very consistent. But yeah, if you get your film at a festival, then that's a major step in the right direction.
Definitely. Well, I really am excited for this year. I know that I'm going to see your film playing somewhere at some festival.
Hope so.
I'm excited for that because it's such a good, strong film based here in our hometown of Miami. I love it, and I look forward to the next opportunity you and I have to work together, to collaborate again.
For sure.
Make our next masterpiece, and it's just it'll be fun. This world is filled with opportunities, and we have to try to
harvest. We gotta
harvest
those opportunities.
Can't let them pass us by, Manny.
Yeah, I know.
We gotta grab onto them. We gotta make our dreams come true, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And that's what this podcast is really for. It's really to talk about movies because we love movies. It's really to talk about filmmaking because that's what we are. We're filmmakers. We love to tell stories through the medium of film. And it's something that we've been doing as a species since forever. When we were cavemen and we would sit around the fire and the elder would tell the story about what happened in that day. And that tradition has been passed along through beautiful pieces of artwork, through music, through cinema, through books. And all we aspire to do is to carry on that legacy of storytelling.
For sure. And leave some kind of a footprint,
Yeah.
In the
even if it inspires, even if our film is watched by one person and it inspires one person, that's enough.
For sure.
That's really all that I can aspire to.
I mean, just one person who could have told me that, oh, Manny, you were the best part of this film, of Communist Brainwash My Daughter. Just one person would have told me that, I would have been happy, if it would have felt validated. It was nice that I had a lot of people telling me that. That was really cool, and and hey, I left, I left some kind of an imprint there. I was able to entertain these people for an hour and 40 minutes or whatever.
And I'm sure that they were able to like see you and think of somebody in their family, especially
Yeah.
if they're
Oh, yeah.
local to Miami.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has an Heriberto in their family.
Oh, I had a few that I was like channeling the people that I had a stepdad who was kind of like that, so I had to channel.
And you had the crazy uncle too.
my crazy uncle. Oh my God. Everyone has a crazy uncle in the family.
Everybody. I know I do. Well, Manny, thanks again, man. Thank you for joining our podcast.
Of course.
Thank you all for watching episode 3. Stay tuned for episode 4. And love you all. Talk to you later. Bye. See ya.
Peace.
What I want to be ya. What in your... Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go that far.
Pico.
Peace. Pico de gallo. Manny. We love you. We love you. Adrian.
Picadillo.